We'll call our meeting to order at this time. Adjustments to the agenda. I have a recommendation as an adjustment. On the 8:15, we were going to do some personnel policy house cleaning updates. On Friday, we received two emails, one from Mary, one for Christina regarding grievance of their pay. And then there's some discussion how we move forward. So my recommendation is for now is to postpone the personnel policy amendments and maybe use that 8:15 time to talk about the grievances that came in. Is the select board okay with that? And then if we get done early, we can go back to these amendments. Okay? Are there any other,
Let's just take it right off the agenda rather than come back to it.
well, that's
What do you
fine.
think?
Well, I wondered about that too, because I would like a little more time.
We'll have the
that
discussion and then we'll,
subject.
yeah, put it on another item.
So you
on
want to
the
take
night.
that off the agenda, that's fine. Okay.
Thank you for suggesting.
Any other agenda modifications? Is there public comment from our visitors? Silence all night, right? Okay, good. Okay, the next thing we have are minutes, August 1st. Oh, public comment. Let me back up 1 second. Mike asked, and you are on time, Mike. You would like to make a public comment?
Yes. So Mike and Tashka, my comment is regarding a number of complaints I saw on Front Porch Forum and letters to the editor and that sort of thing on the increased speed of traffic on Greenbush Road and Spear Street. And as a member of the Shalat Safety Committee, we issued a report, I think, 3 years ago. One of the recommendations was to, we actually predicted an increased amount of traffic as a result of the upcoming construction on Route 7. And one of our recommendations included speed mitigation through the use of speed tables or speed bumps on approaches to the villages, the heavily populated areas. And with the incidents that have been reported recently, I would like to recommend that the select board take another look at that. And probably the cheapest and most effective alternative would be to use speed bumps or speed tables. And I was talking with Dean earlier, and while speed tables don't slow things down a lot, you could have speed tables on steroids, which would perhaps slow traffic down a little bit more, but not quite as much as speed bumps. So I talked to a number of people in the village area here on Greenbush Road. The sense seems to be that they would prefer to have those speed bumps, so there shouldn't be public opposition to it. I'd like to make the recommendation that the select board do something about it. Thank you.
Anybody familiar with the process there, Dean, as far as impacting roadway?
If I might add.
Yeah?
Vermont VTrans just issued a letter inviting applications for transportation alternatives grants, and this is state money that could be used to improve pedestrian and bicycle travel on our roadways. And I think it would be appropriate down the line, since you probably wouldn't get the money this year, but down the line to actually take a look at making the roadways safer for pedestrians and
I think we
bicyclists.
have that planned for future agenda, don't we? Talking about the crosswalks.
Actually, yeah. Susan Ohanian had a recommendation for Ferry Road, I think, not necessarily Greenbush Road.
Right. So Mike, that's question two. Question one, what's the process of speed bumps? I mean, we
Well,
understand the snow plows and that, but actually wanting to do it, do we have the authority to do it, or?
Sure, it's a town-maintained road. I think, as Mike said, you would want to probably have an agenda item and make sure that people on Greenbush Road want that. And then you'd probably ask regional planning for a design so that it's suitable for both winter maintenance and, and effective. And then probably Junior could build it, I would think.
I suspect there's probably a VTrans spec for speed bumps.
You can buy them at SDR.
You can buy the plastic ones or any other number of the ones that you nail down, but they're of dubious integrity.
The speed bumps in the village, because every vehicle that goes over, every truck,
Yeah,
is
boom,
gonna bang.
boom, 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 boom.
Very loud.
The fire and rescue also voiced concern when that report came out 3 years ago about
Oh, yeah.
the issue of transporting people in stretchers going over those would slow down their transport times to the hospital. The speed is an issue. I wasn't convinced from that report that the speed bumps and the tables were the solution. We do have the state police did set up a speed cart, I think this last week on Greenbush Road.
That was from the state police.
The state
I
police
saw
did that.
data.
Yep.
Wasn't that?
And like you said, Mike, this was a anticipated temporary fallout from having Route 7 upgraded, that people are going to be going. So the state police are patrolling in higher frequencies, both east and west on north-south roads, to try and mitigate it. But I've been reading the same posts you have. People are frustrated.
So what's the pleasure of the board? Do you want to investigate speed bumps, see the costs, options, have it on a near-term agenda? Let people talk about it?
Sure. My experience with speed bumps at where I used to live is we had horse stables, and there was a big issue with noise from trucks. UPS and FedEx would no longer deliver because every time they went over, their tailgates crashed and people jumped off horses. And it took one or two times, and everybody knows where a speed bump is. Then it becomes a drag race from one bump to the next. If you could have portable ones, would catch people off guard.
Is there a way to work with our state partners and get some more patrols to kind of send the message for the next 3 weeks, if there's like scheduled out, with school starting and whatnot, that we could have some state troopers out there, pull a few people over, word gets around?
I don't know if you get state troopers, but I remember at the informational meeting the VTrans had here regarding the construction, they said that in certain cases, they do try to contract with the sheriff's department to hire traffic control people. I don't know under what circumstances that would be.
Because it seems
You'd
it's a
have to
public
take it up with V-Trans, I
safety
think.
concern now,
I'm sorry, what?
Well, now it's a public safety concern, and there
It
is
is,
major
it is, yeah.
roadway construction going on, so I think that we could definitely
Right, and-
make
and
the argument.
If you weigh a lot of banging and everything from trucks, if they go over, if you weigh that against the possibility of somebody really getting hurt, I think you gotta weigh it in favor of people getting hurt.
Dean, do you think Francine Perkins would be the contact person to look into VTrans contracting with the sheriff's department?
V-Trans,
She's the liaison for the road construction, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I can.
Good lead.
If I could you made a comment on the transportation grants, monies that are coming down. In the town meeting, one of the members of the community, John Howe, had brought up a discussion about creating a plan for bike safety and runners and whatnot. And we took action, I think. It was an advisory motion, if I'm not Dean, you might remember or recall.
On Spear Street.
Yeah, for Spear and, well, for the town, but he wanted to start in certain corners in Spear. So maybe just a suggestion to reach out to him, or he might have some really solid ideas on how to use that money.
I know in the past, a lot of people that live on the Greenbush Road in the village here talk about, you know, how dangerous it is to walk to the old brick store, their house. And if you had a sidewalk, at least on one side of the road, that would provide a lot of pedestrian safety, and that would be able to be funded through that transportation alternatives grant.
I'll donate some material to build ditches in.
Okay, so we're reaching consensus to put this on an agenda. When do you think, you have the next agenda is the 12th. Has that got space in it for a half an hour discussion on these options, Dean, or?
There is already an item for the Ferry Road crosswalk.
Oh, that's, okay, which is the Susan Ohanian issue. Why don't you squeeze some more time in, and we can talk about speed bumps and crosswalk. See if you can get some more time in there.
Okay, either that agenda or the next agenda, or this coming
Well, I'm
agenda.
trying to think of, I mean, already we have dissenting comments here, and it's not even on the agenda, and supportive comments. I say we get Junior here, see what he says, winter roads, that kind of thing. If you can get regional planning to talk to us, experience.
Okay.
See what you can do. I mean, it's 3 weeks from now, I think. Does that sound all right for everybody? Okay. The next item, is there a motion to approve the minutes as modified for August 1st?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of August 1st with amendments. Yep. And I actually have,
Is there, we need a
Something-
second, just so
oh, sorry.
everybody.
I second.
Okay, yep, go ahead.
so I'm gonna go right to the end because that's where I found on lines 229, 230, that whole area. I don't believe that it's actually written as we discussed.
Right, 229 and 230,
Submit a claim to the insurance company regarding lot 128. It just says Mr. Morrison replied, yes. I don't believe that. We really did that.
what,
Did you just say yes?
we requested a formal complaint from Mr. Arthod. Once received, we would consider a claim to the insurance company.
Correct.
Okay? So that's correct, 229 and 230.
I didn't really have
I didn't have anything else either. You caught me on that one. I thought that was a good catch. Everybody good? All in favor of the motion? Aye? Opposed?
I can't vote.
Okay. The next minutes are, is there a motion for August 8th? Minutes.
Move to approve the minutes of August 8th, 2016, as amended.
Second.
Oh, actually, I take that back. Can someone else make that motion?
Sure, I'll make that motion.
So you made the motion?
Yeah, I did.
It's been seconded?
Second.
Okay, second, okay. I have a correction on paragraph on line 150. What I heard, and I've dealt with the Children's Center a little bit because they were at our church, the center is at near capacity with the capability of taking 4 more children at the Ferry Road facility. I don't remember hearing about financial stability. It's just they have the ability with the septic system to accept up to 4 more children than they're at capacity. Does that make sense, Kathy? Okay.
It's a good reminder.
Any other comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed? Good. Okay. The 7:20 item, Catherine Bach. Oh, I'm sorry, updates. Excuse me, thank you. Are there select board updates?
I just gave you all a letter from Brian Mechanic, and it's along the speeding line as well. So it'll just be added to the file of things that we might want to discuss. I did see where he wrote that there was one fatality, and I'm very sorry for that, but I don't remember what that was, so I thought we should like to check that as we go forward. And I asked Ron Wynn about speeding in town. I came to the store the other day, and I said, so what do we do about this speeding? And he said, speeding will be here until the end of time. So we are always going to be dealing with speed. So might as well get used to it or accept it, or I don't know, but it's just always going to be a subject of different times of the year, different things. So
2 points on a license and a $100 fine. Just slow down.
Any other updates, comments?
Seguin Bridge. If anybody's got time to go over there and check it out, it's not there, it's laying on its side over in the grass.
Oh, so the bridge is shut down
It's a
now.
good opportunity to see the, it's pretty cool, I mean, if you like that stuff. I'm a civil engineer, so it's like, doesn't get any better than that. But the roof is off, and they're still looking at their November completion date.
I haven't heard anybody really complaining about it either. So it's good.
Good. Anything else? Okay.
I had one more. Do we have coming up on the schedule more discussion or the list of things we need to decide for the sewer system? We were going to come up with a list. Should I be pestering Dave Marshall for a list or create a list of things we need to do? We talked about a work session. Is that going anywhere?
So, the reason why I can't, so my sense was, you were here at the last meeting, and we tried to move forward the permit, and that never even got off the table. So, I think we have to go back to the minutes.
I think there was a list of priorities that we had to set in order for the parts to fall in place.
That's right, we were gonna go through the report.
Policies.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right, we're gonna go
We're
through
gonna
the policy and
So-
see what the priorities are. That's a good point.
I'm guessing I dropped the ball. I'll see if we can get a list, and I'll give it to Dean to get on a future,
Oh, we
maybe
just
work
talked
section
about
or something.
the last meeting, right?
Yeah.
Just the last meeting, so.
So, within that 50-page report, he wrote the word policy decision
Yes.
5 or 10 times. So we were gonna look at that to help him move forward.
Well, just come with a list of those, and then have a work session, I think, and then make a policy decision on each one of them so it can progress.
Do you wanna?
So I'll get a list. I'll talk to Dave and get a list. And then we
Okay.
can send it out, or maybe schedule a work session, they talked about
Sure.
it.
I mean, do you wanna do something next week, or do you want more time?
I'll get the list first.
Okay.
Is your mic on, Fritz?
I don't know, it's green.
The amplification is into the TV, it's not into the room.
Ask him to wax his mustache.
I ran out, strangely enough. It's hard to find that stuff.
Okay, so you're gonna take that on. Well, that's right. Then we'll have to have a special meeting on that, or work session. Any other updates? Okay, now we're up to Catherine. Catherine is here? Oh, you're Catherine.
I'll make a motion to approve the application of the Charlotte Housing Trust for a $10,000 construction grant for a single-family dwelling.
And I'll second.
Do you want to spend 2 minutes explaining what you're doing? It's a pretty complete package for the audience and everybody. Just a quick summary.
I'm in the co-housing community, and we still have 6 lots that are not built on. And we only have 2 affordable houses there, and it's pretty expensive for young families to be able to come out there and buy. So I'm working with the Champlain Housing Trust to build a house that will be affordable. And basically funding the difference between what they consider affordable and what it's going to be costing as a donation myself.
So there are 2 elements in here. One is the 10,000 from the town, and another was 50,000 for Vermont
Champlain Housing Trust.
Affordable, or Champlain Housing. Is that free and clear, or is there a lien with them for future reference, or is it a grant to your project?
It's a grant, but they'll be having shared equity.
They all have shared equity, and that means what? When you sell it?
They can't raise the price.
You can't sell it.
No, I won't sell it. The owner, they'll find an owner.
Yeah.
And then if the owner wants to sell, they have to go back through Champlain Housing Trust.
Okay,
So
for an
it-
equitable price. It might be 10 years from now.
Yeah, but it continues to be affordable in the market at the
Okay.
time that they decide to sell.
Okay.
So this will be a way of keeping it affordable.
Any comments or questions?
Well, there's some of our own language about perpetual affordability. Are we defaulting that to the Champlain housing?
I think it can be both. And for projects, we have done projects, for instance, the old Twin Shacks or Albert's Way, where either Habitat or Champlain Housing Trust is involved, and they are sort of the primary enforcer of the covenant, and we ask for a report from them that they are in fact enforcing it, and that.
I'm not remembering the details, but I remember a bit of a lengthy discussion about using the funds for construction for Albert's Way.
Right.
And
This is construction.
yeah, so and there was, I'd have to go back and read the minutes.
Who does the money go to?
What?
Who does the $10,000 go to? Because it wasn't supposed to go to Habitat, Champlain Housing.
No, it goes to this
It
project,
goes
which
to
is
the builder?
Yeah.
The builder.
Fiddlehead Construction, right?
Yeah.
That was the problem on Gezovich's over there, that it went to Habitat, and it was only supposed to, it wasn't supposed to go to not-for-profit organizations. You need to read your policy.
This says Fiddlehead Construction right on the application.
He's not, he's for profit.
Yeah, but it's still gotta go to the person requested it.
The check has to be made out to Fiddlehead.
You guys need to read your policy on this.
Well, it's, I'm reading it now. Projects may involve new construction or renovation of existing structures, but one or more new perpetually affordable housing units must be created. Grant funds are released to the grantees on a reimbursement basis. I think dotting i's and crossing t's, Fiddlehead would need to be paid and then by the owner, and then the town could reimburse the owner for what was paid out. But money shouldn't go directly from the trust fund to the builder.
We had kind of a hiccup with that in Habitat, didn't we? about a year ago, year and a half ago?
That's
It's like
what I was
15,000 or something like that.
Trying to remember what the
Yeah.
the hitch and the get along.
Yeah, and we had to write the check back to, no, who was it Habitat? The gentleman that was here? Was he a rep from Habitat, or was
He
he?
requested the 15,000 be granted to Habitat. I think did we say no?
Rather than go to him, it
Because
went,
he wanted to pay for material.
I don't recall that there was a problem. I think in this case, Catherine would pay the builder, provide the invoice, show, that it's been paid and received and cashed, and then the town fund would reimburse Catherine.
Yeah, I think the Habitat one was a little more complicated because they had federal funding
Yeah.
that wasn't available
Oh, he was trying to
without.
get credit for federal funding from our 15,000.
Right.
So we have an application and we have a motion. Is there any amendments to that motion? Is everybody okay with what we have?
I guess it's implied that the motion will follow the policy,
Yes,
because so then.
because that's the application has those
Yeah.
references. And then the application has to be filled out with the details once we approve it.
until it doesn't. So moved.
We've already moved it.
All those in
Everybody ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You're good. Thank you. It's a fund that we don't use that often.
the paperwork. I'll send you the grant agreement if there is something document to sign.
Yep, thank you. Was Troy going to join us, or are
He
you?
was. He said he could make it.
Want to just move on to the Charlotte sign?
Sure.
That should take about 2 minutes.
Motion.
Go for it.
I guess you gotta call it up first, right?
Right, so the background here is that our sign was, it feels like appears that it was stolen. It's on the south end of Greenbush Road. And we want to replace it. So we have a quote here. And there was some hardware. Is the hardware included in this bid?
The sign itself is $363, and then hardware for one sign is included.
Oh, but for twice the price, you get 10 sets of hardware, right?
Right.
Which Junior's recommending. It's a lock-proof fastener of some sort.
Tamper-proof, yes.
Okay, so here's the quote here then, it's $363, and if you guys agree, the $146.74. Do you want to add those up and make a motion?
$501, $509?
That's how they
Is that right?
were, the question came from,
509, yeah.
that's how they all are. They're on the right side of the road
509.74, yep.
for the right hand, for the,
So I move to purchase a Welcome to Charlotte sign and hardware to replace the missing sign, total cost of $509.74. So move.
To include that includes the
That
extra
includes
hardware.
The extra hardware.
Okay, is that seconded?
Second.
What's the lead time on this? Does it say on here?
Some young graduate has a nice Charlotte sign in his bedroom. Just a theory. Yeah.
Okay, any further questions on the sign replacement? Motion's been made, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Offer $100, we can hold them back.
Bounty system.
Select board schedule, whether to meet on Columbus Day.
You want to look at that one? We're waiting for Paul. You want to take the 8:45 item?
Or
7:55.
Oh, 7:50. Well, I understand. You want to do that one?
Yeah.
or 755, okay.
Yeah.
750.
7:55?
Paul won't be here for 7:50.
I think
7:55, Carrie Fenn?
Okay.
Carrie and Peter Fenn.
Okay, so,
we need to do Paul first before we do the fence.
Not necessarily, no.
Well, then
I-
I make a motion to
Yeah.
request for reimbursement of the fee from the zoning board of adjustment
Second.
for 500.
Yeah, it was what, 513
Well, the
or
513.
something like that?
So what we were seeing here is that 1350 was for copies, and I feel like the $500 is where we should be at in giving you back your money for that. It's my opinion.
Is there any warnings,
Pardon me?
newspaper warnings?
For to give him back the money?
No, was there any other cost occurred?
Oh,
You did have a hearing, right?
We didn't incur any
No, the town.
town may have it.
Yeah.
here, there's three, here, there are about 3 items in play here. One of them is Paul Arthod is asking for a settlement from the town. We have lot 128 that we're talking about, perhaps dividing it up between lot 127 and 129. We have your request for $500. On the next item, the Paul Arthod item, we will probably go to our insurance company and have them negotiate a settlement. And so my thought is not to decide any of these issues, let's keep the ball in the air, and perhaps that can be part of the settlement that the insurance company makes. I think it's a public document. We had the Paul Arthod is up in the neighborhood of over $70,000. He excluded that from his letter because he's saying, well, we would reimburse, but I'm saying, we don't know what further issues are going to come up with. There's an appeal pending on that ZBA decision, which was denied. So there's an appeal pending. There's your request. There's Paul Arthod's reimbursement, and then there's the breaking up of lot 128. So there's a lot of things in play. My recommendation is to not make any final decisions until all the pieces are in order.
No, I think we need
and I
to
don't
pay the
think,
fence.
I don't see where they're anywhere
We just need
in
to give
there.
them,
That's
they're
right.
longstanding members of the
Yeah,
community.
you did
They
that in
acted
good faith. It's not gonna work out. I agree, the good faith.
Yeah,
It's not gonna work
they-
out at the
they went
moment. You
into
might as well have your
this.
$500
Yeah.
back. We'll take
Write
it
'em a
back
check.
again if there's ever
So
a
thank you
reason.
very
No
much.
way,
Please
yeah.
invest in Charlotte.
Well,
No.
the point I'm trying to make is the insurance company might pay it.
Well, they might not.
No, we can give
You
them
can
So
find that out
they
later.
need their $500
we can give them the
back.
bill and
Yeah, let's not nickel and dime. I
Right.
mean, This is,
You're not involved in any of that. Exactly right. They are totally separate. This is a totally separate issue with them.
No, I
They
disagree
should-
with you, but that's beside the point.
Wow.
So is there a motion on the floor?
there's a hand up.
Do we
I
did,
made the motion.
was the motion seconded?
I thought Carrie seconded it.
I made it.
Oh, you made it, I seconded it.
Okay, so the value of the price for that is what? $513.50?
Well, I was thinking the 500
$513.20.
even was
And
what
the-
you paid, you
No,
know,
it says five-
1350,
Well, I'm reading it.
sorry.
I'm reading Ms. Fenn's
500
email to
was-
Dean.
Even 500? Okay,
I
well,
got
that's fine.
1320 right here
It's
from
only
the copy.
1350, I don't
500
really
for
care.
the ZBA fee.
So the motion's been made, are there just comments? Yes.
I don't have a problem with a refund, but I wouldn't want to refund money that the town has spent on advertising or anything else for the hearing, or any other costs incurred. So till you have the bottom number, what it was, the cost of the town, it's hard to make that decision.
We're not requiring any, we don't care about what it costs the town.
Yeah, but it still costs the town.
Right, you're saying take it out of their check
You
and
have
prorate
a
it.
right to get that hearing. You got a hearing, so the cost was incurred to the town.
But we wouldn't have requested a hearing had we known that there was a
The town should sue itself for,
I understand, but there was still a cost. And in the past-
It's independent of our costs. We're not denying that.
Robert, I understand where you're going. Totally get it, but I don't think that right now we need to kind of nickel and dime into advertising fees and whatnot when we're already.
done in the past.
What, excuse me?
What have you done in the past?
What have I done in the past?
Consistency.
Yeah, I've been very consistent, haven't I?
You know, another way of looking at this, regardless, let's say we vote to pay for this, we can still put it on our claim to the insurance company.
They just need their
I
money.
just want to check.
They just should get their money back.
So there's a following letter and appeal from,
Right.
what's the point of the appeal if the money's refunded? Because then there's no,
Well, ultimately, there's just the money, it's the third
Well,
thing.
they're appealing the decision.
Right. But ultimately, it's really gonna be a request for settlement. Is, you
No,
know,
no,
like
it's a separate-
first, they're,
That's a separate issue.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Switch over to Paul.
no, sorry.
No, I think,
I just wanted,
I think the point I'm hearing is if it goes to court and it's found to be illegal, it is found to be legal to have done what was done, then the Fens would be able to have their permit looked at and possibly approved. We don't know that
Come
if
back.
it's going to court currently. It seems like from the town legal counsel's opinion that it was not a legal thing to do. But if it does go to court and the insurance company, goes to court with whoever's representing Mr. Arthod, and it's found that it is legal, then the $513
Was properly
is
paid.
properly paid, and the permit would then, the permitting process would then restart, I would think, without any more fees. So it's just a question mark at this point.
Right.
And, I think it's a little early to assume that it was illegal, even though that is the opinion that we got from our lawyer.
Question, yes.
So who is actually appealing the ZBA decision? Is it
that's
you
where
guys, or is it Arthur?
I'm not, if our thought's
I mean-
appealing it and you guys applied for it, how does that work? The guy that paid for it has to
rescinded
appeal.
their offer, from what I understand. They're out.
because it was contingent.
The permit was applied for me representing Paul for that particular permit, but with Paul, since he's part of it.
So is Paul
So if
appealing?
Paul is who is the true applicant, Paul or you guys?
The landowner's the true applicant.
So then we have to refund the landowner. You have to refund the applicant. You can't refund someone who's not the applicant, can you? Well then,
Yeah.
how does that work?
You were working for Paul Arthod, right?
No. Well, I mean.
He owns the land. Your sales agreement says approval for your building pending ZBA, so you were working for him. You happened to pay the $500, and now it's being appealed.
Dean, don't contractors fill out the applications for homeowners all the time? So technically, Paul's the one appealing.
we're not talking about the appeal right now.
Right, but I'm just trying to clarify on who was actually appealing, because if you guys aren't appealing, then I think it's with Paul and it has nothing to do with
The language in the appeal lists the Fens as applicants on behalf of our
Could I have your name for the record, please? That just spoke.
Excuse me?
What is your name for the record?
Oh, Gita Searforce.
I don't understand how you can, in one hand, have a refund for a permit that on the other hand is currently being appealed.
So this is what I figured. Arthod went through, whose signature was on the documents? Arthod or Fen? Okay, and Fen was the check was written on whatever came from you guys.
We had a purchase and sale agreement.
Yep, applied for this.
On the condition that we could get a permit. We would never have entered into a purchase and sale agreement if we knew that there was a legality issue with this lot. We would never have applied for a permit on this lot had we known.
It was contingent on that.
Yeah, so they were getting the ball rolling.
But they were
Sure,
working
I
on behalf of the landowner.
think it should be refunded because the.
You do or you do not?
Well, I think it should, but I don't know how you can do it if how can you appeal something that's just been refunded? So if you refund it, it doesn't exist. So you throw the appeal out? Is the appeal not valid?
The appeal was pending.
Well, his letter speaks of that. I don't know if that's jumping the gun, but
Well, it
There's-
could be, but I'm just,
there's letters
Yeah,
where
you
he
guys
said
might
that he-
have to sit on this for a little while.
That's where I'm coming from.
The town attorney that rendered it.
Was the purchase and sales agreement with Mr. Arthod, is everything square? Or
It was
is there,
contingent on the ability to be able to do this.
it means, is there money you're looking to recoup from the purchase and sales agreement from Mr. Arthod
Our deposit has been refunded to us.
in full, except for the 513?
That was separate, that wasn't part of the
You
deposit.
paid to the
Yeah.
town, but was because Mr. Arthod represented an illegal subdivision to you at the time of sale.
No.
We didn't need it.
Right.
Allegedly.
Technically, it is.
So when things all get undone, if they do, the 513 is really due to the fact that a purchase and sales agreement was presented that wasn't legal. And then you paid the town that money. So I guess the question is, maybe for a lawyer, is Mr. Arthod responsible for refunding you that money because he
Right.
entered a purchase and sales agreement with you that wasn't valid, and that was one of the terms of the agreement?
Yeah,
I don't think so, because we gave the money to the town representing Paul in that process, so it would come back to us. You can give it to Paul, that's fine, we trust
Right,
him, he'll give it
that's-
back to us, but.
I'm just not
Well,
sure.
you're ultimately,
where-
that's where I'm coming from. You're ultimately going to get it from him.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not denying your concern, but I don't think it's incumbent upon us to give you a refund now when there's appeal pending and a claim against the town. I think you'll ultimately get it. I just don't think it's tonight, is my vote.
well, I kind of agree with that because I don't know how, it just doesn't make any
You're-
sense to
Right, you're appealing something.
refund the application for the appeal, so.
Yeah, I also agree 100% that all of the money should be returned. I just don't know the right way until it's been
These other
settled.
issues get resolved.
Right.
Okay. So, you have a comment?
Is there a precedent for returning?
This is very unprecedented, this whole deal.
This is not.
And that's why we're going to work it out. We're trying to make a settlement with the landowners. There's a claim from us from Arthod. Is your concern? I mean, they're all valid concerns.
And in general, I think the honorable thing to do would be to return the money with interest of whatever.
When it gets resolved.
Yeah,
Sure, that's
absolutely.
fine.
It's money they haven't had.
Okay, so we have a motion. Everybody clear on the motion? All in favor of the motion,
Would you
say.
read the, could
Go
we have
ahead.
could you read the motion again? I actually, I know what it is.
It's to pay the people down.
Request reimbursement of the zoning board fee of $513 for the 2 Peter and Carrie Bennett.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, everybody clear? Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed
I get the
indicate by
argument.
saying no.
I get the argument, but give them the money.
Okay,
I don't want to give it to Paul,
just,
too.
you'll get interest. It's an investment.
Yay! How would it be calculated and at what interest rate are we giving them?
I'm just curious, I know, I understand that absolutely
They're not worried
everything
about
happened
the
here, but
increase.
I'm
Oh,
just
yes,
curious,
No, you're not.
how will the, essentially the delaying of the motion, how will that affect the?
Well, I think it's, whatever you want to tie it to, inflation in our
Awesome.
life right now is pretty minimal, whether it's money in a bank or value of
I think I
housing.
got enough of the interest.
It'll
I'll pay
be,
in advance.
it'll be a couple percent and a cup of coffee probably.
Awesome.
Okay, so we've done that one, okay? The next item,
Troy, here
oh,
now.
you want to finish the Paul Arthod deal?
No, it's gonna go on for a while. Troy's here at 7:30.
Okay. Go ahead, Troy, why don't you,
I'll make a motion to approve the firewall for the Town Hall Computer Network, the budgeting for email and application solutions for fiscal year 2018.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
are there any comments? I mean, you went through this with us. And this is one of the options you gave us, which sound like a no-brainer for the short term.
So we talked, I think the last time I was in, we talked about it, and what you didn't have was just basically some more detail about what it is. So I just want to ensure you're clear on what it is that you have and what I'm proposing. If that makes sense.
Sure, I think you can make it brief, because I think we fully support you.
Okay. So thank you for having me back. So what you currently have in place is what's called the DSL line, provided by Waitsfield Telecom, and you have a modem. And within that modem is what's considered a first-generation firewall. And essentially what that means is it's kind of benign by nature. It has a certain set of rules that keeps you guys protected from the outside world. And in today's day and age, with advanced threats, I'm proposing what's called the next-generation firewall, which is provided by Cisco. So that's what the Cisco ASA 5506 is. So additionally, what makes this a next generation firewall is the fact that it has additional services other than just firewall features. So some of those services are listed in the proposal. So Dean, maybe if you can scroll down. Actually, sorry, not that. So there are 3 services that that are being proposed that are bundled with this firewall. So, whoops, sorry. So one of them would be the IPS, which stands for Intrusion Prevention System. The next would be web content filtering, URL filtering, and the third service, which is on the bottom line here, it's a feature called AMP, and what that is malware protection. So essentially, if you don't understand the full meaning of these, in short, what they are additional services above and beyond just your basic firewall protection. And the reason why these are important in today's day and age is because of, have any of you heard of malware or CryptoLocker? So this is a malware that's prevalent. So essentially, in short, what CryptoLocker is, and there are various forms of it. It's malware that circulates on the web, and it's induced by someone potentially clicking on a file, whether it's visiting a website or receiving an email attachment, and it's what's called the payload. And if you click on a link that has this file or this payload, it would then propagate and encrypt all your files. And in today's day and age, this is, hacking has become a prevalent business. This is how these guys generate revenue. So the reason why I'm proposing some of these additional services, and I want to be clear about what I'm proposing is, you could potentially do this in 2 phases. And what I mean when I say this is you could potentially just get the firewall aspect of the solution. And so when I'm pointing to this, the Cisco ASA firewall, with none of the 3 services that I mentioned, you could, that would reduce the cost almost by half, including a lot of the labor. So potentially you could consider doing that first and then implementing the services later. That's not what I'm proposing. I'm proposing that you do it all.
Okay.
But I just wanted to be clear that that is an option. In my opinion, any new firewall that would be implemented now would be much better than what you currently have.
Let me ask you the summary of the cost then. So
Sure.
you have your labor piece here,
Okay?
which is the 1,200, right?
Yep.
You maybe roll up, Dean.
Yep.
And then what's the additional after your labor for the,
Sure. So the additional cost would be a annual maintenance fee. So annually, you would want to budget for
560.
Yeah, so
Everything but the 629, I think.
that is correct. So annually, you would want to budget for everything like Dean said, except for the 629, which is for the hardware. So everything below this line would be a reoccurring cost on an annual basis.
So for tonight, for everything and the 1-year maintenance is a $1,695 plus the $1,200, is that right?
That's correct. So it's $1,695 for the hardware, the software, the services. When I say software services, what I mean is the maintenance and the 3 different products that come with the firewall. So that's the $1,695, and then the $1,200 is the estimate of labor to configure everything.
Okay.
At
So,
such time that we change to Google Apps or whatever you presented last time, is this transferable, so to speak, or do we have to pay over with a new software system?
So they are considered 2 separate solutions, if you will, and one has no bearing on the other. So to answer your question, it would be transferable, but it's kind of a moot point in the sense that this firewall it's an appliance that gets installed in your server room closet. And if you were to add the Google Apps or any other application services, then that would not have an impact on this solution here. They're two separate solutions altogether, and one has no bearing on the other. I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, I missed the streaming for that meeting was sporadic at best, so I missed a fair amount of your presentation.
Sure.
But I guess my question is, if we change to Microsoft 365 or to Google Apps
Yep.
from Yahoo,
Yep.
does that include features like this, or do these features need to be added to whatever Microsoft 365 or Google Apps would
So that's a good question. So there would be no overlapping features. So one of the features that I spoke about during that meeting was spam filtering. So there's a difference between web content filtering. So it's web content filtering or URL filtering. That's filtering your email traffic, or I'm sorry, your internet traffic. So when you're going to different websites, that's what this solution is doing, is it's filtering that web traffic. So when I say filtering it, meaning it's looking for sites that are known to be compromised already. It's not foolproof, so please don't misunderstand. None of this stuff is foolproof, but it's better than what you have now, which is basically nothing. So to get to your point about Google Apps, whether it's Google Apps or Microsoft Office, that has email filtering. So it filters email only.
Okay, so this works with Yahoo, Microsoft.
It does.
And it's not redundant.
compatible.
And it's not redundant. Okay,
That's correct.
that was the question.
Yep.
so you made a motion.
Yep.
Could I suggest you put a dollar value based on this quote of that $28.95?
Sure, to include the quote of $28.95.
So that means we're doing what you've recommended.
Okay.
What's the time frame for this?
So give or
If we-
take, so from the time the order's placed, so if it's in stock, probably a week to 2 weeks shipping. And then as far as implementing it, I'd say, maybe, so install is relatively quick. It could be done probably within the second day.
So we're talking about 3 weeks or
Yeah, probably 3 weeks out, 3 to
Okay.
4 weeks out.
Was the 1,200 a hard number or a not to
No.
exceed?
No, so that's the best guess. That's an estimate. It's a conservative number.
Okay.
so. You
So,
might
Alan,
want to-
so the time that you're billed for is only the time that's
Okay,
applicable.
so our motion might want to be not to
Not
exceed.
to exceed.
Not to exceed the $28.95?
Yeah, 28.95. Okay. Anybody have any other questions? Good questions. All in favor of the motion, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for the recommendations. So then we'll look at this next year for the upgrade of the email system, and we ought to consider that in our budget. So when we're doing budgeting November or so,
That is correct.
we should make sure we're in touch.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, the next item now. Okay, we're at the 750 item. Okay, so the 750 item is Paul Arthod is appealing the ZBA decision. This is merely a decision on our part to enter an appearance by our lawyer. But it may never happen. It should get all settled. But what was your recommendation? That we do support this, right? Dean?
It's pretty much as you said. It's probably not going to, likely not going to go anywhere, but to be represented and be in the loop.
I don't support hiring a lawyer, just let him, I don't support that.
All this is if it gets that far,
If it gets that far.
then a lawyer would enter an appearance. I mean, we could actually do it a month from now. I mean, it doesn't have to be done now.
Do we
right?
have a
And
timeline?
why would
There
we?
would be a
events?
timeline for entering an appearance as far as,
A timeline for how this all went down, how it happened? Because I can't find anything in the minutes.
how far back do you want to go?
From the very beginning.
Well,
1939.
When there was light.
it's in the appeal that we have in our packet.
That's fine, but can we discuss it on the public record?
It's on the website.
So tell me what you know.
What do you want? You want a decision? Okay.
I understand. I want, like, can you give a timeline, time frame, like when it started? And just, I'm just kind of
Well,
confused on how
the
this.
appeal is just to the ZBA decision.
Right.
So the
All by
timeline would
itself.
be when they submitted plans to build something to the zoning board, which was, I don't know, a year ago.
2015.
Well, how long ago was that? A couple months ago? May of this year. So.
And the zoning board denied it. So they're appealing, that's what the appeal is.
All our thought is.
Right, I guess I'm just concerned because we're talking about bringing in insurance companies and
Well, we
things
haven't
like
gotten to that
that.
topic yet. That's a
No,
different
we're
topic.
just talking about, so when do we have to give the attorney, or what's the timeline for asking the attorney to?
I believe there's
enter
a
an appearance?
30-day window from the appeal to respond.
And when was the appeal?
August 9th.
August 9th.
So
30 days
the,
appeal time.
this is just an hour's worth of attorney, or half hour worth of their time saying,
Right.
10 minutes, right.
we're in the game.
Right.
So it's a minimal amount of money. It's not spending any more. If you don't say you're playing in a game, you don't get to play.
Right.
So case, they would proceed, the person that's filing the appeal would proceed against us with no legal representation, because we declined to at least say we want to play.
By not entering an appeal, we're saying that we are unsupportive of the
Zoning board.
ZBA's decision.
Well, that's the other point. That's a very valid point. So we support our ZBA.
Correct.
Right.
And,
Okay.
and they basically alerted us to a mistake the select board made 2 years ago
Correct.
by denying this permit.
So would somebody like to make a motion to authorize town attorney to enter an appearance?
Did we get a price for this? I mean, last meeting we had talked about when we do stuff like this, maybe we don't have one for this particular issue, but, the letter to make an appearance is a $100 bill.
I would think it probably a little bit less than that, but around there.
So, I mean, that's just something that we seem to come in front of us a lot, is making an appearance. Maybe we should just say, what's it cost to make an appearance? So we know.
We should put a
That was part of the
request for
thing
proposal.
that I had problems with is, we should hire an attorney, but God, we have no idea what it is. You don't want to sign a blank check.
Bless you.
That was that, along with that expense spreadsheet that you were,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we.
Did you work on that at all since we asked about that expense?
I did not get that, no.
The time to work on that's next time we get a bill from them. We'll say, hey,
Which
wait a
will be
minute.
approved
Oh,
end of the month.
There's some ornery select board member that won't approve it because there's no spreadsheet.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion Anybody would like to make a motion?
I move to authorize the town attorney to enter an appearance in the ZBA,
All our time.
It does have a docket now.
yeah,
I
the
can get
docket
it.
number 208243.
I have to check. It's recorded inside.
Docket number.
Could probably just
The
refer to
filing number.
Reference is
Paul Arthur,
208-243.
conditional use review.
That's the file.
Enter an appeal for, the Paul Arthod conditional use review, ZBA 16-15-CU.
Okay. Is that motion seconded?
Second.
Okay. Any comments on that?
Do we want to be notified if they're going to do anything besides enter an appearance?
Yes,
That would be good to know.
that would be the only thing.
Enter appearance.
So we're
And be
approving,
notified
we're
if
approving
they're-
the whatever to make an appearance, but we want them to tell us if they're going to start the meter running on this issue.
What we want is a status report once the appearance is made.
Right, right.
Okay. Any other comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed, none? Okay. Okay,
I
She
did.
said aye, yeah.
what you said yes, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the next one is the 8 o'clock item, right? So this one, Jacob we could provide a little summary, which I'm happy to do. Is it on a summary piece of paper, or?
I'm not sure it is. I can do that if you'd like.
I can speak, let me speak to it. Okay, in the fall of 2013, the select board was asked to divide lot 127, 128 at Thompson's Point. So at that time, that was approved. Lot 127 was sold to Ernsting and his wife.
So, wait, can we go back for a minute? The select board was asked in the fall of 2013
Yes.
to what?
I believe it's actually
The spring of
May 12th,
2014.
2014 is the date I have.
Okay,
May
very good,
12th.
because I was going to say, I know nothing about 213.
Okay.
So, right, it
Well, was fall
starts,
2013, did the discussion start?
I think it was a one-evening event, because it
Yeah.
seemed pretty straightforward, and
wait, what are we talking about? The 2013? There was
I
discussion?
don't believe it was, if the date where this vote was, you have minutes of that then?
Yep.
It was May 12th, it was May 12th, 2014.
14,
Okay.
yeah.
And there was no discussion whatsoever except for about shoreline protection and trees. You will look at the minutes of May 12th and you will see that there was 3 motions. The first motion had no discussion and 5 yeas about terminating the lease with Paul. The second motion was a 9-line discussion about the shoreline protection and trees, and it was 5 yeas. There was a motion to approve a new lease with Paul. Again, it's all 3 on May 12th, and there was no discussion whatsoever, and 5 yeas. So I actually have, did the other, I was wondering if the neighbors got notified for this change, in April, I know one of my neighbors near the store, they were gonna do something with their land, and I was notified. Were these folks notified?
This
On
wasn't
either side.
anything that the planning zoning board had to approve. It was basically a lease. The select board terminated one lease and entered into 2 separate leases. So
But
it didn't go to planning and zoning. There was no land use review, which would trigger notification. So when these leases expire or they sell, it's strictly a lease, it's not a permit.
And where did Paul get the idea that he could split those two lots?
Two separate lots, because
Where-
it is two separate lots.
Yeah, but there was no discussion whatsoever on any of this.
Were you researching the written minutes or
I-
audio minutes?
The written minutes.
Is there audio? Good question.
That would be a question I would
Because
have.
a lot of times,
Yeah.
discussion that doesn't have a motion or doesn't seem pertinent doesn't make
Yeah.
it into the written. It
The
might be in
problem
the
is that a lot of those, I don't know if this one in particular, they were written by Kathy and modified by Dean. And I would have at least expected that they said that there was discussion. Didn't have to, in my mind, in the minutes, it doesn't have to say per se what the discussion was, because maybe then you'd go back and listen. But there is nothing that says that there was discussion
On a
But
subdivision.
we could go
on
back
such
and-
a big thing since 1939.
We
So
could go
yes,
back
we
and
could
see
go
if-
back,
if
I
there's
agree.
audio.
I can
I
say,
just
as
haven't had time.
one of the people that made the mistake to say yay, is that it's always been my experience that a legal lot is a legal lot, and you can do with the legal lot what you want.
But you didn't hear any of that, so you wouldn't have known.
So what I didn't know is that you could actually combine two legal lots with a lease. To me, that still is odd.
Well, it is what it is.
So, but you're right, it is what it is, and I didn't know that there was this clause in the ordinance, and my bad, I should have read the ordinance completely before I voted on the leases.
Well, you guys, both
Likewise.
you and Fritz were just newly elected to that board, so there was,
The
How
point
many
being,
other leases do we have like this?
I'm not sure, but I guess
One
I just
more,
want to
right?
ask
At least.
if you want either Kath to look at her original minutes or listen to the original recording if we still have it. It seems like you do have a question on what conversation took place. And so I would ask that be pursued, because it seems like you have a question that,
I do. Because I just can't imagine why you didn't do any, consult with an attorney on any of this. Because really, the Fens wouldn't have had to go through this. We wouldn't even have to be talking, the zoning board their time was wasted. But they didn't go, according to Dean, when I asked him, they never got any legal advice on this whatsoever. I do question there is an email with our attorney dated on April 28th of 2014, where there was something about splitting a lease, or rent on splitting a lease, I guess is what I saw. I don't know what the rest of that says, but.
I'll check it out, I guess.
And so, and the thing was, is
The
that the
bill.
first time that we heard about this was June of 2016, when Valerie came
Right.
here. So, but what about the letter that was dated August 2015? Did anybody get that? Did we use, it's in her paperwork.
That
her-
was the petition asking about
Telling us about the shack or whatever,
Right.
yep, telling us
That came to the
about
select
that.
board. That came to the select board.
I looked for it on
I
our
believe so.
agenda, so if we're gonna have to clarify that a little bit. I was fairly new at the time, so I didn't see any discussion on my notes for the agenda, or that you had it on the agenda, and I could be wrong, but I'd
But
like
isn't-
to, I do have a question about this.
but isn't it a simple issue in that the select board on that date
Made a mistake.
made a mistake, and we didn't take into consideration the land use requirements, that if you have a single lease covering two lots, you cannot subdivide. So to me, what all the references are, that's probably good, but we made a mistake.
They made a mistake, not we, not this board right here.
Well, some of us were here.
Yeah,
I don't know what's the difference. It's the responsibility of the select board, and we made an error. We, the select board. You weren't here. So now we're in a position
to just pay $75,000, you think?
No,
Call
no.
the insurance company, you think?
I think that part is true. I believe we have insurance to protect errors in the work that we do. So it seems to me we made an error, and I think we should turn this over to VLCT Insurance Company to negotiate
To investigate?
with Paul Arthod a settlement on his claim of $65,000 plus 6 or 8 more for rental and other costs, such as their $500. And then they take it on. It's like having an automobile accident. You turn it over to the insurance company and they settle it. That's the way I see this.
The way I see it, it's one of a few things that we'll end up having to take care of because of that 2014 board.
Will you have another method that you'd like to pursue?
Well, I just think that, I think that he's only reimbursed for any expenses that he incurred with deeds or surveys. And it just,
Are
the
you-
board made a mistake and that's,
Okay, but
so,
do you want to hire, I mean, are you a professional to be able to hire to do this? Are you prepared, or any one of the 5 of us, prepared to negotiate with Paul Arthod?
there isn't,
Right?
well, yes.
Do you want to hire our lawyer at $250 an hour to negotiate, and Leah Murphy, who is his attorney? Or
Yeah.
do you want to consider turning it over to,
I'm not just gonna give him the money to our,
well, nobody is.
there is.
But if you turn it
No.
over to an insurance company,
I think the lawyer is the way to go. It'll be less.
what, our lawyer?
Sure.
At $250 an hour? Wow. I don't think the insurance company will cost anything.
Well, it would cost us the insurance money.
What do you mean? That's what we pay, whatever we pay, 100,000, 50,000, whatever we pay in our policy. This is an example, it's just like an automobile insurance policy. You have an accident,
But you weren't driving.
huh?
You weren't driving.
Well,
If
this
there's an email exchange with the lawyer before that meeting, then you need to find out
But there
what was
wasn't.
said with the lawyer, because if your town lawyer said it was okay, you shouldn't be paying anything, the town lawyer should be paying for it.
Right.
Exactly.
4/28 was the date of the email. which
Wow,
was
if
before
there's an email
Friday.
with me at 4:28, I'm gonna go check it out what it was.
It's
I've
on the
been-
bill, it's on the bill.
It's been
And
advised-
it says that it was an email exchange concerning splitting a lot.
It was
So if the
45,
lawyer
wanna
had
know what
46
that's-
dollars.
So you're
You
con-
shouldn't be paying anything.
So your
the lawyer should
contention
be.
is that Stitzel and Page,
If they said it was okay, it's their fault.
okay,
Make them pay.
that's an option.
Didn't we talk about that yesterday?
So you
We
need
did,
to find
Robert.
out a
We
little
did.
bit more.
You and Robert are having drinks again.
I checked my source, and my source said there was no such email.
Well, it's on the bill.
Okay,
So
that's
I
good
think there
information.
definitely needs to be some investigation before you just say, we're gonna take care of it and send it off to our insurance agent. I think you really need to look into it, because it might not be your fault. Especially because the minutes don't reflect any discussion.
Any discussion.
So there's nothing
whatsoever.
said about, we talked with the lawyer said it's okay. So you really need to look at the audible minutes, and I think you need to look at the email to really see if the lawyer did not say.
So is a particular email, a particular date from,
4/28/2014,
okay,
listed on the bill.
huh?
Robert, look on your bills.
It's right on your bill.
I got another question.
Oh, we're looking at, okay, go ahead.
That's the bill.
There's also another person here that has some responsibility, and it's Paul's attorney, because he must have gave some type of a legal opinion that you could do this. And had he read the right town regulations, or he had any knowledge of any of the goings on with the wastewater system at Thompson's Point, he would have easily picked that up.
That's what I don't understand. There was a lot of lawyers involved.
No.
That's a part of the negotiation, right?
Yeah, but you're not negotiating, you just told me. You're just.
I don't want to
handing-
negotiate,
No, you're just handing off.
right?
You can't just hand off, because there's multiple players in this. And Paul himself being on the select board, this is not something new, that no more construction at Thompson's Point, because if there was, there'd been a lot more of it.
But that's what the investigator for the insurance company would do. They would investigate, the insurance company doesn't want to pay it.
I've been down that road with insurance companies. Let me tell you what they do. They write the check and move on.
That's not entirely true.
Yeah.
So, in this case, in this transaction that happened, and that's something that you need to consider, we have a select board and a select board member involved. And,
We got a select board.
and, right, and there is very limited public commentary on, and recordings of what exactly transpired. And they're going to look at this and quite potentially come up with, I mean, they may make some, allege some,
Was there one or
that there was
multiple?
some improper handling.
Was that the 13th?
Emails with the town attorney on April 28th, 2014 were completely unrelated.
What does it say here? Analyze email SFS regarding rent for splitting combined lot.
That's what the bill said.
This is what the bill says. So that's why it's just.
Hillary deletes emails, we
Yeah.
delete emails. It's a conspiracy.
It only was, that's just where it seemed to start for me,
What's that?
was what does that
Yeah, they got it.
mean? Once we know what that means,
So that's
then we
what
can.
David Rue, which he's an attorney,
Okay.
conferred with with Joe McLean. I searched for all emails from both of them. I guess I would ask if Mary could search her emails, because she was the one who drew up the termination and the leases.
Why don't we just ask the attorney to send us the email?
Okay.
Because then we'll know who, he might have talked to a board member or something, who knows?
Could we also have
True.
the VLCT representative who was here come down, the insurance representative, and have a discussion with her?
I think we should.
About this?
I mean, it takes it off our shoulders.
Yeah.
No matter who pays, they're our representative, they're our
Right.
investigator.
And that's
mean,
no
that's-
charge.
yeah.
She'll come down here and
Right.
talk about how she sees it from her end.
That's
and
what I'd like to do.
we can be better informed. The VLCT passive representative, PACIF.
You want to make a motion to that point, so we can,
Have it on the next. Is there time on the September 12th agenda? Is 5 minutes enough?
At this point, I mean, the agenda item is a request for settlement. I mean, I guess
I mean,
our action would be to
No
deny the
action.
settlement pending further investigation.
Yeah, I wouldn't even act on it. I wouldn't make a motion.
Push it off to the
for
next
the
agenda.
minutes, do you want a motion or just for the minutes?
For tonight's, what we're looking at now, I'd personally take no action on that because it's premature.
And I thought your idea of having a VLCT
I
pack.
can't remember
F-
her name. Do you remember her name? Is it Susan Young?
Kelly, I think it's Kelly Kinderson, but I'm not sure.
Well, it could change depending on what the issue is, so why don't you just make a motion for the VLCT PCIF representative, work with whom?
On this insurance issue or on some issue?
Yeah, so we can flesh out what the process would look like if we filed an insurance claim and just discuss the situation.
And is this something that would be done in an executive session? Because there's a potential pending lawsuit.
So do we want her to start looking into the data, or do we want,
I think it should be an executive session. Because we don't want, if they come up with some scheme, you don't want to spill the cards in the public.
right? So what do we want this, how'd your motion go? To,
To have a representative from the VLCT passive speak with the select board about pursuing an insurance claim for the Paul Arthod.
we can reference that letter.
Paul, a third settlement request,
For the Paul Arthod settlement request.
because he calls it a request for settlement.
Letter dated August 16th, 2016.
Yeah.
Okay?
Do you want a special session during the day? I mean,
I think that might be better. Don't you? Because it can be a single issue and we can spend more time on it. Because there are a lot of good questions, and how do we approach it?
Yeah.
No, this is a big deal. We should have it in front of the TV so that everybody in
Well,
town
they can come.
watch
They
and
can-
see this. This is a big deal. This guy wants $75,000 for a mistake that was made in a prior board meeting, and you're talking about going to an insurance company with an investigator. Excuse me? I see, and that's the thing, like, there's a lot of a lot of moving parts.
I
I think it should be in the evening, and I think it should be discussed
Okay. Did you finish,
appropriately.
did you finish your motion?
Yep.
And could you repeat the motion?
Yep, to have VLCT, Asset PACIF representative come in regarding pursuing insurance claims regarding the Paul Arthod settlement request dated August 16th, 2016.
Has that been seconded?
No.
Anybody like to second that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Those in favor of that motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. So that's unanimous. Good. The logistics. I just think it could go on a bit. It could be an executive session. I'm just a little concerned about, you know, the TV people here, people in the audience. I was thinking of 4 o'clock. It'll be a warned meeting. She can come during her workday. People can attend.
People can't attend, people work. That's the thing. That's why VCAM has been so instrumental in getting people together. That's why we have a town charter now, because people wanted more involvement.
So what's the desire of the board? When would you
I'm
like to do
thinking this should be done. I mean, you don't want to tip your hand with a potential lawsuit on TV.
Okay.
Why? What are you talking about? This is, the public has
For
the
the
right to
same
know,
reason we
right?
don't call Putin and tell him exactly where we're going to put planes. A lawsuit is generally an
But
adversarial
that's what-
situation,
That's what we
and
have an
one person,
executive session for.
let me know when you're done.
Well, and it does ask that there is a request by Paul in his letter for this to be done in executive session. And this particular conversation we've had tonight has not been harmful to anyone, if I'm not mistaken, but as we go forward, it's likely that it would be better in executive session.
So,
I agree with you, Fritz.
good. So we have a attorney there. So why don't you check her availability?
Okay.
She may want some background. We got loads of background. And give us some proposed time. Could be in a couple of weeks, whatever works. Everybody satisfied with that?
She may have recommendations as to whether it should be in.
Well, I think.
That's
okay.
fair enough.
Yep.
That's fair.
Okay.
But, you know, this was done, it seems like this was done kind of under the cover of darkness, so I think that we need to, you know, show them the light. And
Well, I
let
think it
them
was
find
not
their own
done
way,
in cover
right?
darkness. I think it was done wide open.
Well, we
We
could-
missed.
But we don't have any minutes. Carrie's talking about minutes, now we have to go back to the audio, and,
I
you know, we
don't
gotta.
think it was that complex a decision. We just missed the regulation.
Wow.
We've done a dozen of these things where
Yeah,
you
we do
cancel
them all
one
the time.
lease
We
and
do-
start another one.
We do leases all the time.
No, not like this one.
Okay, can we move on? The 8:30 item? Is that the next one, the Verizon wireless application?
Mr. and Mrs. Fenn, thanks for coming.
We've decided to postpone it.
Oh, we are going to, we are substituting the 8:15 item for a discussion on 2 emails we received Thursday or Friday of last week regarding pay from,
No, they were not emails about pay. They were emails about job grading. I would like that to publicly be stated the correct way. They were not emails about pay. They were emails about the job grading.
do you have those 2 emails, Dean? Did you?
I can print them out.
If he's going to print them, I don't need to look at them.
Yep, the grade, she wants to formally, this is from Christina, wants to formally appeal her grade position that was given by the Select Board using the Palmer study. And as her immediate supervisor, which is Mary, she cannot do anything about the grading. So she's requesting that the select board conduct a reevaluation of her position. Dated 8/18/2016.
John, how's that latte sitting? How's that latte sitting? You'll be up until 3 o'clock in the morning. Thank you.
Well, I think we have to develop a plan, is how we want to move forward. So, you want us to reevaluate?
A year ago, when I had my job evaluation, we were discussing, the year, and it was a review and everything else. I asked how I could go about grieving, and everybody kept telling me there was a grievance policy, and it was in the personnel policy. So when I read it, I just didn't think it really applied. So here we are a year later, I have my review, I once again ask about it, and Lane, you informed me it's in the personnel policy. So I went there is a grievance, so I followed it. I formally submitted a written letter, and I'm expecting for the rest of the grievance stages that are described, because I did ask you in my review that it be done in a timely fashion, and I had requested that I know how long, but after reading the grievance section of the personnel policy, you guys already have it laid out in days. So I have followed everything that you have asked me to do, and I had requested guidance over a year ago, and I have followed the guidance that you guys suggested I take, the path I take. I've submitted a written letter, and I'm hoping that you follow your policy, and we can set a date and go over it.
So there's several aspects to this. So this is a pay issue, and
It's not a pay issue for me.
this is not a pay issue.
It is a grading issue. Because if I'm graded correctly, my pay isn't gonna go up. I'm gonna just move down a couple steps. Maybe to a step 2, my pay will actually fit in like step 2 where I'm actually a 2-year person.
Do
If
you-
the grading of my job goes up. I'm not looking to go up to step 8 and increase my pay. I'm looking to increase my job level. Because if you increase the value of my job and you keep me at the same pay, I will actually be at a step 2 or 3 if you follow my recommendations. And at that step 2 or 3, I now will be getting the benefit of a new employee. I do not get that percentage increase benefit of a new employee because of the step that I am on. And you guys claim it was for fair market value, but I started at a step 5.
Right now you're a 7.
Right. So if you increase my job, I might actually go to a step 2 or 3 and might actually have 10 years to work out this pay grid and, actually get some value at this point. I'm at a step 7. I got 8 more years. I've been here 2
So-
years.
As far as the grade goes, what grade are you at now? Grade 7 or 6 or?
I'm at a step 7, grade 12.
Grade 12. Do you have recommendations of?
I do. I have everything written out so that we can go through the Palmer study, all 14 questions, and I can present to you what I feel my ranking should be, what my number should be for each category, and I have what I feel is the reason why. I have it all prepared and presented. I'm waiting for a date. Because that's what you guys have told me time and time again, that's what I need to do. So I'm now doing what you've requested.
So what's the select board think? So you're a grade 10 right now, right? Assistant clerk treasurer.
Okay, yeah, so I'm a 10. I guess maybe it is.
At
I'm
step
over
7, at step
Right.
7.
So I guess maybe, I think my ranking, I don't know, I have the numbers actually written down, but I'm thinking that my ranking should be more like 12 or 13 instead of 10.
What we'd like to do, it's a little bit off track, but we believe there ought to be a procedure in our SAP, salary
I'm sorry, but
administrative policy.
I have asked for guidance on how to handle this, and over a year ago, you told me this was the way. My submittal was long before you go and change anything in the salary administration policy. I expect you to follow your grievance policy. Which is 5 days I get a written letter saying that you've received it, 10 days I get a meeting, and 5 days after that meeting, I get a ruling. That is what is in your grievance policy. I am following what you guys have asked me to do. If you want to change the salary administration policy, that's fine, but my request was in before there were any alterations done to it.
Did you get a letter after 5 days?
It's not 5 working days yet.
Today is
Today is the 5th day.
or
No, today's
Third,
only the
yeah.
3rd working day.
8th. Got it.
I'll let you know.
So, will you say to reevaluate, are you going to give us reevaluation changes that you think are appropriate?
Lane, don't you just gonna send her a letter? There's no more discussion.
Yes, I have
Well,
everything
there's a
written
little more
down.
discussion. I
No,
mean,
I have everything written down. You know, category number 1, you have me ranked at this amount. I think it should be this amount. Why do I think it should be
Hey,
this
just-
amount? But, I mean, I'm willing to go, I have all that written down. I'm ready to go through that process with you, to sit down and show you what I think my
has
ranking
anyone
should
on the board given you any reason to believe that we don't want to go through a reevaluation of your position?
The problem is the board is very good at not following through on things, and I am more worried about the not following through, or it being months down the road, or you need to reevaluate 15 other people, and I have followed what you have asked me to do with the grievance policy.
Well, I'm looking at the grievance policy, and it says the grievance letter must be filed with the select board within 10 working days of the occurrence on which the grievance is based. The occurrence of the grievance is when your position was evaluated in the Palmer study, which is a long time before 10 days.
And I asked you during the Palmer study, and I asked you during my reevaluation how I should proceed. I have submitted.
Right, it just doesn't seem like it's following this grievance policy,
It
and
was submitted within 10 days of my reevaluation, of my performance review, I guess is what it was called.
your performance review has nothing to do with what your letter is asking for, which is your grading to be.
Yes, it's talking about the performance of my job. It's talking about what I do.
Well,
So how is that
because in
not?
the job performance forms, there was really nothing that has to do with the Palmer study. There's two, the grid is something different. Further up on the grievance procedure, step 1, is to discuss it with the immediate supervisor. You did that. Step 2, if the complaint is not resolved because your immediate supervisor could not resolve this issue, the employee may appeal formally in writing, either personally or through a representative. And you've stated what the complaint is.
At least we should see this.
7.1, the first section, the select board encourages employees to make every effort to resolve problems as they arise. However, the select board recognizes there may be grievances that will be resolved only after a formal appeal and review. So for me, I see this as a situation that applies to 7.1 of the grievance policy And if you're looking to have that be on an expedited timeline, I don't see a problem with
I'm
that.
not looking at an expedited timeline, I'm just looking at the timeline that's stated in the grievance policy. And when I questioned about the review, performance review, I was told that was not the time to discuss the grid. So after I heard it was not the time to discuss the grid is when I composed the letter and I mailed the letter.
And I can see your frustration. I guess, I'm not sure, because it doesn't state in your letter, nor does it state in the grievance policy, because the grievance policy was created before the salary administration policy. So there's no real path using the letters of policies
So can we go back to what
to
you
a
told me a year
timeline,
ago?
to a timeline for reevaluating
But you
your-
told me a
your
year ago
position.
to use the grievance policy as my way to get my job reevaluated.
But I guess my question is, what timeline would you like to see in this discussion tonight for reevaluating the Palmer study?
So a year ago, you told me to use the grievance policy to grieve my job grading. So I'm using the grievance policy, and I would like to see the grievance policy fall.
Right, but a year ago
So
is
what
not-
you told me a year
is
ago,
a lot longer than 10 days.
and it was longer than 10 days from the time my job was evaluated too. So you gave me this information a year ago, because you told me to use the grievance policy now.
But the first part of the grievance policy.
So you were wrong in telling me that.
No, the first part of the grievance policy, 7.1, says the select board prefers and encourages to do this informally, without 7.2, which is where you've submitted a letter,
So
7.2.
when do you get the opportunity to ask for your job to be reevaluated? Performance reviews. But I was told performance reviews has no bearing on the pay grade, not to bring it up. So here we are, we're like playing full circle here. And we're mincing words, and it's all to get out of actually doing something.
Well, that's an assumption I hear you stating, but my question to you, which I'm waiting for an answer, is what
Follow
timeline
the
would
grievance
you?
policy.
It's not in the grievance
Well,
policy.
if we're following the grievance policy, we don't have the situation being grieved with specific times, dates, and other pertinent facts. You should probably
That
give us
hasn't been provided, that's
the
why I'm
piece of
asking.
paper that you have that has all of the issues, so we
Great,
can read
I
them.
can email that to you tomorrow.
Yeah, because you
I just
clearly
have
seem
an issue.
upset.
I witnessed you go through this with a formal request from another employee, and that got put on hold. Whatever the reason it did, it violated the grievance policy.
That's not true.
So,
That's
my
not true,
thought-
by the way. She is exempt from the grievance policy on page 2.
So my thought on the whole thing was I didn't want to end up in that situation where it was months down the road and everything is still hanging out there. So when I reviewed the grievance policy, I said, well, all right, this is what I'm going to do.
Right, but my question, which I'm still hoping you'll answer, is
I
what,
have answered it. I want to follow the grievance policy that's in the personnel policy that I signed the day that I started here, accepting those rules and regulations that you have laid out. I
Just-
signed a copy stating that I received it.
but step 2 is not properly received. So I'm trying to go back to something that can follow the grievance policy.
So I will resubmit the letter with all of my documentation, and then you can count the 5 days from that. The point of the matter is that I'm not withholding information from you. I will submit it. But I'm doing what you asked me to do.
So the timeline that you're looking to have the reevaluation of the Palmer study is what?
What the grievance policy says. What does it say?
It doesn't talk about the Palmer study.
No, but it talks about my actual grievance and how long you guys have to hear it and resolve it.
Well, we're going in circles because it was supposed to be submitted 10 days from the time when it happened, which was over a year ago.
Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna go with whatever.
No, I mean,
Matt, we are in a big circle, and it just seems like you're trying to get out of it, actually accomplishing it. You were the main person I spoke to about it, and it's very apparent that now that I'm actually doing it your way, I'm gonna be penalized for it.
the only, I don't see any penalty. What I'm trying
I
to figure
said
out
it was
is,
in 10 days
is-
of my job review.
we're trying to figure out what an acceptable timeline for you to be, would be to
So,
set up meetings
nobody qualifies to do their job.
reevaluate your job position.
Nobody
Would you want to
qualifies
do that in the
do
next 2 weeks? Would you want to do that in a month?
I wanted to follow the grievance policy. And
So
if
the-
you're
10 working
saying that I don't
days.
qualify because of number one,
The
then nobody in this town qualifies.
No, I'm not saying you don't qualify. I'm saying it's not.
Nobody is within 10 days of their job being evaluated by the Palmer study.
That's why Lane's
So-
point about having a grievance policy in the
So
salary
then how
administration
is it that
policy
you
is.
can tell me that's how I needed to go about it?
No, what we need to do with you is go through 7.1 of the grievance policy. Have you looked at that? That's where this applies.
Within 10 days. So
No, that's 7.2. 7.1 is right here. It should come up. It's the preference of the town of Charlotte to seek resolution to grievances informally.
It's actually in your packet. Policy is.
It's here.
That's what I am trying to pursue.
So what is informal? I
That
still need
you
to
and
meet
I are
with you.
here and we're discussing as a board with you what timeline you would like to do a reevaluation. Do you
Well,
want to
it's-
schedule something next week? Let's start it next week. Or do you not want to? I'm trying to figure out what you do want for a
I would
timeline.
like it scheduled within a week of my request, okay? Second off, when I left my job performance, I asked that it be done in a timely fashion. So I would like a result from the meeting within a month, minimum. As far as, I would prefer if you could give me a little thought, a little consideration, and I understand you need to have meetings in there. But the point I want it to be is I don't want it to be 3 months down the road. I don't want it to be 2 months down the road. I don't want it to be really 31 days down the road.
Okay, so you're looking for within a month to
I'm looking-
reevaluate the
I'm
position.
looking for the fastest time frame. Maximum 30 days. Because things get dragged out way too long.
That's not true.
I don't see why that's not possible. Does anyone else on the board see why that's not possible?
Fine.
No, she's the employee.
I'm gonna take
We're
all
the
different tax, so
Supervisors. And I think that
tentatively,
we need to give
you've
her
got
a
a-
timeline.
Like, we could meet next Monday, is that what? So, my question is, what are you grieving? How have you been harmed by the town? And let me ask a couple questions, or let me just speak for a second. You have been hired to do a particular job with a job description, with a grade, with a salary, or the hourly pay rate. How have we grieved you? How has the town mishandled you as an employee?
Not me as an employee, my job rate. It has nothing to do with me, right? This whole pay grade has nothing to do with the employee, it has to do with the job. So now that I actually know my job, because when this pay grade was put into effect, I didn't know my job. So you guys brought me in and had me sit in front of your table and you asked me, do you think we've evaluated your job correctly? I had no idea. So a year after I had been hired, I said, you know what, I can sit down and go over this now because I actually think I kind of have a year under my belt, I've done everything. And I found discrepancies, and I found where I felt my job should have been rated higher. So now here we are approaching year number 2 in September, and I feel I have a much better grasp. So when you guys brought me out here and put me in front of your table and asked me what I felt about the rating you gave my job, I didn't even know my job. So you gave the rating, you assigned my job a number, and you put it on a line so that everything fits into a box. I don't agree with the line you put me on. I have different numbers, and I would like to present them to you and feel why, according to the Palmer study definition, that I rank higher. And it's my job, not me. But now that I know my job, and I had 12 months, and I had 24 months, and I've actually had a chance to do a lot of these things, I can feel I have a much better grasp over what it is I actually do.
But we're mixing up tasks versus responsibilities.
Wait,
Let me just speak for a second. But in your situation, you have provided, we asked for a job description, and we get 5 to 8 pages of tasks. We measure in this equality of the Palmer system responsibility.
Yeah.
And I don't know of any change that's been made in your job with regard to responsibility. You know your tasks, They're, you
So
know,
the
page
select
after
board
page.
knows- The select board knows all, the select board assigned everybody to a line, we're not supposed to question that?
Christine, I have a question. You right now want to sit down and go through the grid like we did with Miss Mead, and you have areas that you feel within those categories that should have been ranked higher. That's what you're talking about.
Yes.
And that's what we need to do within the
Yeah,
next
like
30
September
days.
12th on the agenda,
If you
or,
deny every other employee,
and then what you're saying is this 10-day issue? You were told last year that it's 10 days after your,
no, it's in the grievance policy, and I just.
after your evaluation, right? You have 10 days?
After the meeting,
got-
then
Hold
it's
on.
10 days, they rule a decision, and everybody kept saying use the grievance policy.
So the select board, I think, will be meeting to review Cali on August 30th at 1 o'clock. At least that's what I emailed today. Maybe you can piggyback a meeting with Christina and just talk this through about process and procedure.
Unless you want to do it Monday.
Tuesday would be, I kind of have something Monday after work.
You want to do it after Cali, or you want to do it Tuesday?
Tuesday is,
Tuesday, what's that date? Is that the date you
It's
just
the
said?
that is the
30th, yeah.
Okay.
It's like at 1 o'clock, right?
Right.
We're talking Tuesday, the 30th?
30th,
Tuesday, the 30th. So it'll probably be about 2 o'clock.
right.
well, I won't be able to get here until 3:30.
We could move Cali back to 2 o'clock or 3
Your
o'clock.
earliest availability is 3:30?
Yeah.
I think we should move. We normally don't get much attendance at the reviews, so I'm flexible if I'm the
Okay.
only one.
I'm
So,
gonna be there.
huh? You'll
I
be
will
there?
be there.
So we'll do, let's work backwards then. So 3:30, we will do the grievance. And 2:30, Cali's review.
Yep.
Okay. Will you provide us then? No,
She's coming back. She went to get the,
So Cali's at 2:30.
Yep. Then 3:30, Christina's.
oh, here it comes.
I got a whole stack.
Okay. The kindling?
I know.
I've committed it to memory.
If you haven't committed where I've made my alterations and where I feel my job is valued less than what it should be.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
70.
Anything more on that topic?
You let
Well, she
Christina
didn't
know
hear
she didn't
about-
hear about
It
it.
was perfectly fine with me, whatever time you'd like to meet, I'm available.
3:30.
August 30th.
For August 30th, sorry. At 3:30?
Do you have notes or just the numbers?
I have notes, but they're buried somewhere, and in the dark, I was having a difficult time finding my notes amongst all the craziness that I call the wage file. I'll find them and get them to you.
I'd like them before the meeting,
I will get them to you tomorrow.
or the next day.
I have them noted on the Palmer study though, so I will try to email them to you as efficiently as possible. I literally just took that big thick packet from the Palmer study and marked up where I felt,
That's fine.
okay?
I don't need it tomorrow.
A second part of this topic in general is so we don't have a pay grade analysis system for existing employees. So Dean sent something out that I think Matt put together, Matt and I talked. So I'd like to enter into the discussion for your consideration, a paragraph into the SAP
which I'm not sure we need to go through it right now, but I just want you to be aware of it.
Do we have a,
It's on the agenda for September 12th.
It's on September 12th, but it's a clause for the SAP on how we handle Palmer analysis issues with existing employees. And this does apply to Mary specifically because Mary is excluded from the personnel policy, and it's on page 2. So this is how we would handle questions that she might have.
And it would be the only mechanism she has to formally ask for a reevaluation.
She has no mechanism right now.
Right, this
That
would
is
be-
a mechanism.
Right, that we
Correct.
could build into the salary administration policy.
Okay. So that is scheduled for the 12th then? Just don't want to surprise anybody. Okay.
Christina, thank you very much for standing up and coming through. We look forward to reevaluating.
Okay, we're going down to the next agenda item? Okay.
You have a
You have a question? Oh, yes.
I really, when I asked the question before, I didn't intend to open that Pandora's box that we just went through. The policy, the agenda says that at 8:15 there will be personnel policies, discussion of the amendments, which I believe in the packet were the amendments that Matt had suggested. So I wondered where that was going to be.
So what we did is we made an adjustment at 7 o'clock, and we looked at personnel policy amendments. I called them house cleaning, maybe they're more than that. So we set that aside, and we said we would deal with personnel policy, the letter from Christina, and this paragraph we put together. So that's what we did.
So you're going to do this amendments or housekeeping things at another time?
Yes.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Do we have that on the 12th as well, or is it, we haven't rescheduled that yet?
Right.
The board recommended we just delete it from tonight because we knew we were going to get,
Okay, thank you.
okay? Okay. Can we go to 8:30 item, Verizon wireless application? They want to put a cylinder on top of a pole. That's this packet right here from Murphy, Sullivan, and Cronk, is that
Yep.
right? So there's a pretty picture in here of the apparatus when I saw it. And it's a cylinder that goes on top of a pole for their enhanced communications.
Does it have a light on it?
Oh, there
good
you go.
question.
I don't believe so.
That's a really good question.
Not that tall. It's not that tall, 37 feet, 39 feet.
Oh, some of them have lights on.
Yeah.
As long as you don't want to put it on green roof, I don't care.
Oh, here it is.
Is a weatherhead a light? What is a weatherhead?
Where's
They
that?
have a proposed weatherhead number 2 near the top of the pole.
Where the fire comes in and hits the pole. Kind of like what you have inside your house, kind of like a dome where the main line comes in and drops down to your meter. Where's it going to be located?
Just north of Horsford.
That's okay, I can't see it.
On the Route 7, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not changing a pole, it's just adding this piece of equipment, 38 inches tall, 12 inches in diameter, on top of the existing pole.
Can I go, not lose coverage when I go by that now?
What was that? No loss of,
What's the pole there for?
Well, I lose coverage there now.
The existing pole?
Yeah.
that's true, we lose Verizon coverage.
It has an existing guy wire. It doesn't have power or,
So it guys off another pole
Across
across
the
the
road.
street because it's going around a corner. Okay.
fire station has the tower, does that have cell antennas on it?
They have something, I think.
Umpties, you know, that they're getting income
Yeah.
from?
I don't know if it's cell or. if
Some of that's
it's-
cellular, or is it just,
I don't know if it's cell or not. I mean, I think there's 2 people that use it.
I guess the question that I'm bringing up is,
How much?
is this something that they pay an annual amount to have?
Well, that's what I wonder with the Title 30, the public good.
Put it on their own pole,
What's
might
that?
exempt it.
put it on their own pole.
This
Yeah,
is
we
their
don't
pole?
own the pole.
Huh?
This is their pole,
Yes,
but they still need permission from us?
Yeah.
apparently.
They don't really need permission from us, no. This is notification, actually, it's not really notification. It's notification that the application was submitted. And it, so they're exempt from the 45-day pre-notification. And the only action we could take right now would be to argue to the Public Service Board that a pre-notice, a pre-application notice should be required. So at this point, they're not required to notify us.
It's on state land, according to the map.
It's on Route 7.
When are they
But
gonna
in
do
the
this?
state right away, not
Sorry?
town
When?
right away.
When did they
Do
submit it?
propose to do this?
I think as soon as the application is granted.
I wonder if this does correct the blind spot going up Route 7. I bet it does.
Correct, blind spot.
When
AT&T
you're driving
doesn't,
up there, there's no signal.
AT&T doesn't have one.
You don't have that problem? Verizon does. Yeah, it's regular, I mean, there's no coverage there.
It's not the only place AT&T.
Yeah.
So is there a motion to
The
approve
state.
this, guys?
Do we need a motion to approve?
I don't think you need a motion to
No.
approve.
Yeah.
It's only a question of whether you want to
Anybody have any objections to
oppose
anything?
it.
I guess our only choice would be to hire an attorney and file a, we don't want to
Okay,
do
we
that.
like it.
I don't like it, but I'll live with it.
Okay, what else do we have here? Oh, voting delegate. The 840 item, Vermont Lake City Towns Annual Meeting.
Did we do this last year?
Yes, I've been going to it since I've been on the board. It's
Just don't
I
remember.
don't remember that.
It's at, last couple of years, it's been at Essex, and it's a VLCT day. They have an annual meeting, and they just vote on changes to their bylaws, and we have a delegate from here. I'm volunteering to do it again if you'd like me to.
And when did we do this last year?
Prior to the meeting,
It's not too stimulating, but it's fun to see what's
You
going on.
want to go? Free coffee, stale donuts?
We can go.
Sure.
Just can only have one.
Right, one voting.
One
That's right.
vote.
That's right.
I move to designate Lane Morrison, the delegate to the Vermont League of Cities and Towns Annual Meeting for the town of Charlotte.
I'll
Second.
second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 You know, if you'd like to go, it's in
Yeah,
Essex, it's kind of interesting.
I
They have
actually,
these,
I
they have an
think I
open
will.
meeting. You went to something like it last year. They
No.
do open meeting law. They have these
Oh,
four
I
different
like that.
conferences, and you can enter one of them, and Clean Water Act, different stuff. It's good. Okay. Columbus Day, down 8:45,
Town holiday, isn't it?
town holiday.
it's not a town holiday, actually.
Oh, right.
It's not a town holiday.
Right.
It's the day after the tractor parade.
Could have a hangover that.
Any problem having a regular meeting on that day,
What is the date?
October
It is.
10th?
It
think
is
it's
for
our
me.
reg-
I won't be in town.
That's okay with you?
No, it's not good for me on that day. It's the day after the tractor parade and we
Have a
really,
hangover?
no, we really work very hard the next day
Put
to
all the
clean
junk
up.
away.
Yeah.
To clean up, it's quite a,
Do you
it's a
want to
whole
have our
day.
regular meeting on the 3rd, that Monday before? That separates them a bit.
I'll be out of town, but
You're out of town?
But also, I need to have the tractor parade put on the agenda
okay.
like we do every year.
You want to pick another night that week, of the week of the 10th,
Tuesday,
the
Thursday,
11th?
Friday?
How's the 11th sound?
On the Tuesday?
Yep.
Is that,
I'd rather Thursday.
The 13th.
13th, Thursday the 13th? Is that good with everybody?
That
Okay,
work for you, Jacob?
Sure, Thursday, October 13th.
yep, there's your date.
Bueno.
That'll be our first meeting of the month. Okay?
Thank you.
Anything else to bring up? Got warrants? Please sign them.
How much have we spent so far, or how much were we over budget in 2015 in legal?
In legal? We discussed that last month. I'm forgetting.
Like 25 grand, I
18.
think. Wasn't it like 25,000?
But I think we have the potential of getting 10 back. I think it was 30, and I think we can get 10 back from the Charlotte Solar. I think that's what it is. So it'd be about 18 if we win the case on the Charlotte Solar.
What was it gonna cost to win the case?
Everything's done. We're just waiting for the final either hearing or negotiated settlement.
so we're meeting Monday on East Thompson's Point Road. Selectboard is invited, Robert's invited for the trenching, or the ditching.
With
This
the
Monday?
engineer?
Right,
You can put out a notice for that?
yes.
So there might be a few of us there then. So that's this Monday.
Monday,
What time?
9 o'clock.
9 in the morning?
Yep.
Is there any chance Thursday, October 13th, we could have a 4 o'clock meeting?
Fine with me.
Okay, that'd be great.
4 o'clock. I like that. Okay, looks better. Almost there.
Challenging my calendar finger ability here. I gotta go back and do it over.
Okay, so you
I'll
just,
send it to you.
Just push the.
you'll just send a little notice to us on the
Okay.
Monday. Can I can't type as fast as you guys can talk as well. Okay. Anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All going.